Okay, I think it should.
It's live. It says live.
Yep,
Yeah,
we're live.
live.
Hey, good morning, Facebook, and happy Thursday, excuse me. We are excited to be with you today. I am here with a couple other regional support brokers, Tracy Johnson and Doug Hale.
Good morning.
Good morning. And we also have a couple guests, Tim Groenhof and Chelsea Jamieson, that we're going to talk to today, everybody.
Hey, gang.
So, Chelsea and Tim are newer to industry. They've been with 5-Star, what, about 6 months, Tim? How long have you been with us?
I started in mid-December, so it's coming up on 4 months.
4 months, okay. And Chelsea, how long?
I've been here for about 2
months. Okay, so as you can see, they're fairly new agents, and we wanted to bring them in because they have they've jumped into the business, both feet in. They've had some nice wins. I'm sure you've had some challenges, and we want to talk to you about what you did before and why you chose real estate, why you chose to come to 5-Star, and what are some of your wins. So let's just jump in right here. If any of you in the classroom have any questions, just throw them in the chat, and we'll make sure at the end of the class that we come back to you. So let's start out with Tim. So tell us what you did for a career prior and what made you make the jump into real estate, especially when we hear it's a crazy market, right?
Right. Yeah. Interesting time to start, but I think that's probably true anytime you get in. So I was actually a police officer for 11 years coming out of college. That's what I was planning on doing. And I enjoyed it. I was a small town police officer, town called Portland over by Lansing, and enjoyed it. But as kind of the years went on, started raising a family, have 3 boys that are all in school, and the schedule of the job, schedule demands, things like that, is kind of wearing on the family, understandably. And so decided a change was in order. Kind of how I found real estate, it's kind of always been in my family. My dad's been a builder for about 30 years, and my mom actually is a real estate agent over in the Holland area. So I've been familiar with that growing up around it, and thought that it would be a cool and a neat opportunity to find ways that I could serve other people in a different way, instead of law enforcement, and serving the community, serving people in finding and selling their house.
Perfect.
Interesting.
Yeah. Chelsea, how about you? What did you do before, and what made you decide to make the change into real estate?
Well, similar to Tim, I have 2 boys. So I needed flexibility in a schedule. I went to school for interior design.
Okay.
So I've always had a passion for homes, and I really enjoy helping people and, making their dreams come true. So I thought that real estate would be a good door opener with interior design background. And the flexibility that the schedule offers is awesome. I can work when I need to or all the time, and I can still get my kids on the bus in the morning. So it's been great.
Yeah. Doug or Tracy, do you have any input on that?
Well, I have a question for Tim in terms of what his day looks like now. I mean, your day is obviously different,
Right.
than it would be as a police officer, and I'm sure there's a lot of similarities, but there's an awful lot of differences too. What are you finding in the first 4 months?
Yeah, so to say echo what Chelsea said, the flexibility is nice. I was doing a mix of evening shifts and night shifts.
Sure.
So I would kind of go all around as a police officer, schedule wise, get 4 hours of sleep here, then be up for close to 20 or something like that. So it's been really nice to have consistent time. But it's also, my family's not afraid of me being home or being away from home in the evenings for showings and things like that. We're kind of used to that. So it's been nice that I've been consistently around in the mornings and not having to sleep from a night shift to get kids going on the bus and things like that. And then I've been trying to make a practice of coming into office each day as much as possible to kind of surround myself with the culture of it and learn from other people as much as possible, and seeing kind of where that takes me. So,
Well, that's great.
So
Boy,
what are the practicals of your day? Oh, I'm sorry, Tracy. What's the, like,
No,
like,
okay.
you come to
So-
the office, what do you do once you get there? Do you just sit around and have coffee, go to the copier?
Great question. So it depends on the day, obviously, but or I've gotten some buyers clients that I'm searching for. So I'm sending emails, making phone calls to them, preparing market analysis for them, checking the MLS for other options that they might be interested in, scheduling showings. And then if they're looking to write an offer on places, I've been working with that, the contracts and dot loop, things like that. I've also tried different ways of prospecting. I've sent out postcards to my sphere with handwritten notes. I've checked expired listings, tried to make some cold, or what you'd call cold calling or active prospecting in that. I've used some other apps, sending out messages to, when people in a neighborhood app express that they're looking at selling or looking at something, I'll reach out to them. So trying to find different ways of prospecting and seeing what works best. So.
and that all happens in the office, right? You find yourself pretty productive in that way?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's been helpful. I mean, really, this career is, you have to be totally self-motivated. If you're not doing something productive, that it's just your time that's not being utilized. So you gotta have to embrace that. So
That's good. Boy, that's good.
So I was going to ask Chelsea. So Chelsea, you're how long have you had your license?
I got it in October
So
of
October.
2020. Yep.
Okay, sounds good. So you got your license in October. You were with another brokerage before you came to us.
Mhm.
So new culture, COVID, you joined a new brokerage, like, yeah, hi, welcome, but we really can't get together. So what has life been like since you came to 5-Star?
Well, it's been very supportive, even with the onboarding process, they were super quick and easy, and they got me right in one day, less than 24 hours. And I was on board with 5-Star, and I closed a deal earlier this month, and I got all of the support that I could have ever hoped for, especially compared to the last place where I worked, where I didn't have deal doctors, and, I didn't really have anyone to go to with questions. So
Yeah.
it's been difficult with COVID, as I think it has been for everyone, new and old to the industry, but I have had an unlimited amount of help. And that's really important.
That's huge.
Great.
That's huge.
So when we talk about your wins, tell me, where did your clients come from? The clients that you've been working with? That's really like an important piece of getting started. Like, where do we, like, we've got our license, now what? I remember that day.
Yes. Well, you reach out to your sphere, and that's the first thing that I learned is 2 of the deals I've closed are people that I know. The other 2 I have prospected. They've been leads that were given to me from a woman that I work with who also works with 5-Star. So I really think that reaching out to the people is the very beginning. That's what you need to do as soon as you first start, because you never know who that is looking for a home or looking to sell, and you won't know if you don't reach out to them.
That's
Yeah,
good.
because if you don't tell them that you're there, someone else will tell them that they're there.
Right. Like what Tracy said, if you don't ask them, you can't be a secret agent in this business, right? So you have to let everybody that know you're in the business. And 2 is, if you don't ask for the business, the answer is no, right?
Right.
And that was one of the biggest hurdles I had, was how do I prospect my friends and my family, right? And you don't want to feel salesy, and you don't want to feel like, you're out there just prospecting them. But if you don't ask them for the business, then what the worst thing that could happen is all of a sudden one of your friends lists with another agent or another company, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
we've all had that. We've all had that.
Yeah. Doug, what questions do you have?
Well, and the same thing along the prospecting lines. I always talk to agents when they first get started in terms of, okay, now I've gone through my class, I've taken my test. It really doesn't show me how to sell real estate. So what do I do in the first week, 2 weeks, months? And Chelsea, what you're talking about with your sphere, I've been doing this 20 years, and 85% of my business this last year, 85% came from my sphere, people I know, or people that I was referred to by them. So if you think about how many people want to hear from you, it's definitely the sphere. It's definitely those warm calls that are going to really get your business off to a great start. And again, that's what I found. I'm sure, Tim, you're feeling that same way with the people that you're having conversations with, whether they're people that go to your church or people that, you know, are in your social circles. People
Certainly.
need to know what you're doing. And again, this is the key for the first, gosh, how long? Probably first year that you're in the business anyways, to really get you off to a great start. So again, when I heard Chelsea, when I heard you talking about your sphere and the circle of influence, that is exactly where you need to spend your time.
Mm-hmm.
And when you hear Doug talk, you notice his passion, right?
Yes.
Doug's passion is every morning, right? Like clockwork. What time do you prospect from, Doug?
Religiously, 9 to 10:30 every morning. And nothing else that gets in the way. I've always said that's the time that you can work on your business, not in your business. Because you're the rainmaker. You're the one that's going to grow your business. And there's no one else that's going to do that. And again, this is where my wife will always, she knows the days that I really don't feel like prospecting, because she says, Doug, people want to hear from you. Pick up the phone, make that first call that you make to somebody, make it a warm, fuzzy, hey, it's going to be a great conversation. And I'm not one of those guys that specifically ask for business. I always say things like, who do you know that needs my help?
That's good.
And so I encourage you guys to do that, because again, that is, I've seen that time and time again, that's replicated, duplicated in such a way that, again, you're going to be super glad that you took that time each and every day to do that. It's tough to carve out that time, but I know it's important.
Definitely.
So let me ask you this. So we all hear all day, every day noise all around us that says this market's crazy, right? So I'd like to just check in with you to see, how are you managing that? How are you keeping your mindset in the right place? I know last week we had a session about mindset. It was really awesome. If the viewers haven't seen it, I'd go back, they are recorded. But how are you keeping your confidence up? How are you keeping your emotions up? And I know Tracy is also a team leader, so she has to coach her team in this. So I'd love to hear from all of you on how are you managing this, all the noise?
Yeah. I honestly, for me, it's been, it's been good to have access to the live streams, both this one and then the Paul and Greg's, your classroom, and then the Deal Doctors. I just kind of keep those on. If I'm working on something, I'll have it on, trying to feed from some of the energy that you get from those. And it's just keeping yourself engaged. During COVID, you're not necessarily in the same room, but you're still able to get some benefit and some mindset coaching from that, where you might not have had access to it otherwise. So that's been important for me.
Perfect. Chelsea, how about you? What do you do to keep yourself in a positive mindset every day?
Well, coming into the industry with the market this way, I've never known it a different way. So I've never had to adapt to the crazy market, because that's just the only way I know it now.
Good point. Good point. Yeah.
Yes, but I've reached out to the marketing team at 5 Star, and I had a Zoom meeting with her, and we went over some, ideas to reach out to people. And as far as managing my emotions, again, with Tim, I've watched a few of the classrooms and learned from that. And expanding your education is always important. You can never learn too much about the industry. So
perfect. Tracy, how do you manage this and with your team?
Well, it's a wheel, and right now you just can't get off of it, because to win, you can't get off the wheel. So you just have to stay consistent and be in the wheel. And at the end of the day, at some point you're going to win. And, having buyers that aren't 20% down or cash, you know what? You're not going to win in 1 and 2 times. It might be 3, 4, 5, 6. And some of my team members have had clients that say, oh, I just want to give up. But at the end of the day, our job is to continue to just really encourage them, because that's all that we can do. Because if we get discouraged, and they're going to soak up our energy. So I think, Tim, you talked about that, Chelsea, we have to be positive, positive, positive. Greg Carlson has always said part of what we do is we manage emotions. We're like psychiatrists, right? This is what we're doing. And so we are walking through people through some of the biggest transactions they make in their life. For many people, they only do this 1 or 2 times, right? So Chelsea, you already have more experience, sounds like maybe 4 times than some people will have in a lifetime. And you've only been licensed since December. So imagine how much more experience that the 2 of you have combined than many people have in a lifetime. So our job is really to be emotion controllers, right? So everything we have to say has to be from a positive place and to be encouraging.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this. So like, I remember, that first letter that I sent out, how nervous I was, feeling like I like the word salesy, like I didn't want to be that person, right? So like when my letter went out, it basically said, hey, I'm Tracy and I know nothing, but let me tell you about the people that stand behind me at this company that I said yes to. And I got a win. Like, it was just, I'm like, really? Wow. But they know you. So that's what's fun about working with the people that know you first, because they know you don't know anything. You don't have to pretend to know more than you think you know, because they know you don't know anything. So, but at the end of the day, you have experience beyond many of the people you're working with. And that's what I want you to remember. Know your worth, know your worth. But nonetheless, you're going to have fears. And I had fears. So talk to me about, if you have fears, what do they look like? What do you do with them? How are you channeling your fears?
Sure. I like, with me, or going from a steady paycheck, every 2 weeks there, you put your hours in and then you're rewarded for it, to go into, this industry where it's commission and you'll go some stretches without, and then hopefully have a lot of wins, and have that fluctuate. That's different. But I've had a lot of support from my family as well, just like emotionally, like we can do this, keep going, yeah, so like it's to lean on the family essentially, but also the people here like are extremely positive. Reaching out for coaching if you're wondering anything. Yeah, everybody's been so receptive to being available for any questions or anything like that. That's definitely encouraging, and yeah. So.
Good. How about you, Chelsea?
Well, I was very nervous to switch over companies because I worked for a previous broker, and I was just, there were so many unknowns, and I was so new that I didn't know if I should do it or if I shouldn't, but I ended up saying yes, and my partner jumped over before I did, and I had nothing to be afraid of. It's been amazing, and I have no complaints so far.
It's good.
That's good. We like to hear that. We
Yeah.
like to hear that. Yeah.
Hey
yeah.
guys, so a question I have, because again, moving from another real estate brokerage firm, or Tim, a full-time job, obviously there were habits, there were things, there were daily routines that you guys did. Do you see any comparison to those? I mean, I don't know what a typical day looks like for each of you, but it'd be interesting to kind of hear you articulate a little bit about, like, now that I'm a real estate agent, full-time in the business, here are some of the things that I've kind of carried over from my previous work. And again, I'm applying to what I'm doing now. I don't know if either one of you have any thoughts on that or not.
What kind of pops in my mind is I found that like the best interactions I've had is when I'm able to best convey like the heart of wanting to help people and serve people. And so coming from law enforcement, like I was doing it to serve community, in that way. And like the best way that I've had contact with people who are looking to buy or sell is to convey a similar thought of like, I'm here to help you win through this. Like if we have issues, we'll work through them together. Like I'll be your advocate. I'll be your ally, walking through this transaction. But like my motivation in this is to serve you. And then if you win, then I can win too.
Well, that's awesome.
That's
That's
good.
awesome.
Yeah. How about you,
Chelsea?
Chelsea?
Well, as for me, like I said, I was an interior design major, so I had a lot of clients, and sometimes they would be unhappy about a situation or something that happened. So that definitely carried over as learning, or knowing how to take care of your customer and steer them in the right direction and change their emotions from happy or from mad to happy. And besides that, my routine hasn't changed entirely too much. I've had to move some things around, but really it's stayed mostly the same.
Good. Good.
Perfect.
Okay.
So my question would be, Tim, how many pending or active pending closed do you have? Have you closed yet? I know you have one pending.
We haven't closed yet. We have one
Okay.
one pending currently.
So we talked this morning, you're writing another one,
Yes.
right?
Writing an offer on another one that we showed last night. I have showings with a different client kind of coming up through this weekend too. So.
Okay. And Chelsea, you've closed how many so far?
I've closed 4 deals since January was my first closing.
Awesome.
Oh,
That feels awesome, right?
It feels really good.
Yeah. What's closing day feel like?
It's the
Paycheck
best for everyone too.
and a victory too. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we try to say it is a victory, but there's nothing better than seeing that check the next morning. In my opinion, you work so hard for
Yeah.
that. And when you finally get a reward, and of course, we love to see our clients win and how excited they are and hold their sold sign. So one of the questions I would have is, from the few transactions that you've had early on, which is amazing, your first couple months, what's your takeaway? What is there one thing you learned by actually working in the transaction? And now that you've got a couple months, what takeaway might you have in this first quarter?
Well, I've learned a lot. Each transaction, you learn something different, which is exciting to me. I actually had one deal that I closed on, I think it was last month, and it was an FHA loan on a modular home. And the house was, first of all, in probate when we began in December, when we put our offer in, and it was a nightmare. Honestly, it took forever to close, and FHA has all of these restrictions and rules that you need to follow. And with a manufactured home on top of it, it was
Oh, my
definitely
word.
interesting. It was
Oh, my-
interesting.
You notice we're all laughing because that is like
Oh.
most challenging. And if it's not a fix, good luck, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, we
Right?
ended up closing on it. So thankfully all went well. It just took a really long time. And throughout that process, I learned so much just with that transaction alone. And on top of it, the other ones I've done, every deal has been different, and that keeps it fresh. It keeps it interesting. So
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, and she's actually had some experience at a cash sale too. Which
yes,
is
I've had
quite
2
nice.
cash sales actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Those are better. Those are more fun to me.
They go fast. I like that.
Yeah.
We'll take those. We'll
Yeah,
take
Yeah,
those.
that's an interesting perspective that you're able to share, because what you're able to say is, what we know is that FHA is tough, right? You not only had FHA, you had FHA, you had probate, you had a manufactured home. There were some challenges, and so you had to learn to work through those challenges. So I call them backpack experiences, because they're things that you take away from every single transaction and you tuck it back here and you truck along to the next one. And then sometimes you're going to pull from those and go, oh yeah, I remember, and it might be a different manufactured home with a different set of circumstances, but you know what? Every person listening to this right now just learned something from the experience that you had simply by sharing it.
Absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely.
That's why I'm here.
That's good. That's good. Tim? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, or for going through transactions, it's just reminded me like the actual doing of the job is the most fun for me, essentially. Like the mindset wise, I have the easiest time staying positive when I'm going out for a showing and interacting with people. Like explaining the contracts as we're going through them. And then mindset wise, you know, or when you're in the office alone trying to think of prospecting, that's when you kind of have to pick yourself up a little bit more. But you know, just kind of like learning about how that goes, and it's encouraging that you know, when you're doing the business, like I'm having the most fun essentially. So.
Right. I think we all enjoy doing the business, even when we write an offer and we compete, there's something inside of me that gets charged about getting in the game. Right.
Right.
And sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win in this business lately. Right. And so there is that I know Tim came to every single educational class. He learned, but I think the time, I know in my experience, is when you get out there and you actually do the business is when it really kicks in. Is that correct, Tim?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's when
And it's that fire in the belly, guys. Don't ever lose that fire in the belly.
Yeah. So even if you get a transaction and you don't win, or it's Tim and I have one today, it's you not, I don't have it, but you call me out at 40 grand. But it's still, the sooner you can get out there and get yourself in the field and working, you know, every experience early on is just learning sometimes even, and it makes you or helps you feel more confident. It helps you to get out there and just get moving. So, well, we really enjoy having you here, but we have a few minutes. So if Tracy or Doug have any comments, or if anybody has a question for us, fire away.
My comment is I just like to hear what's happening in the first, you know, how early career. I mean, this is big. And again, I always tell people this is the time that you're a sponge. This is the time that you're just soaking it all up. You're learning, you know, you're applying much of what you've learned. And again, I think there's benefit to spending time with other agents, get to know other agents on how they do business. Obviously, the way you do business is going to be different than them. But again, you can take from that, as Tracy said, that's the backpack experience. That's what you can use throughout your whole real estate career. So keep doing what you're doing, you guys. Keep doing it.
Yeah. And you know, the thing I like, my takeaway is what Chelsea said. And I hadn't thought about this because I was a new to industry 9 years ago. And that is this: you don't know any different, this crazy market that we're in. And so I'm going to begin to think about that as I'm working with the new to industries. Like, I'm thinking about all the things that are going on, but this is the only market, you know. So I think that was valuable for me today as I listened to you. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was a good nugget.
Yeah, and Tim, I had a chance to meet you in Ada, so it's fun to meet you again today and hear about your wins. And thank you for sharing that.
Thanks for having me. It was fun meeting you guys that day. Snowy day.
Yeah.
Is it snowing in Grand Rapids area?
No, it was that day that I met you. That was.
Oh,
we were all there in Ada. That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Well, are there any more questions or thoughts? We're at 10:29. So Tim or Chelsea, do you have any questions before we sign off on anything? No?
I don't think so, but thanks so much for the chance to talk, and I enjoyed it. So
yeah, and thank you all for being here. We appreciate all that you do. We love helping be a part of your success. Also want to thank Tracy, Doug, myself. You know, we are here as your broker support. We're always here to help you in any way that we can, and please reach out to us. So, all right. Well, everybody have a great day. It's not necessarily sunny, but we're going to make it a sunny one. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
See you later. Okay.
Thank you very much.